What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a proprietor of this podcast and a freelance sports reporter here based in Minnesota. I love to bring people on to talk about their why, talk about why they do what they do, and who they are outside of the occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Whitney Harding. She is a sports reporter and a weekend anchor at CBS 4 in Columbus, Ohio. Prior to that, she spent 5 years in Kentucky doing the same thing, being a sports reporter there as well. We're going to talk to her about her why and get to know her, ask her some fun questions, and just really break bread with her and just have a fun time getting to know her journey and her story. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the talented Whitney Harding. Hello there. How you doing?
Hi, good. Hey, sorry, I have a very vocal dog.
That's okay. That is all right, Whitney. It is wonderful to see your face. I love the bangs. That's a very beautiful look.
Yeah.
You are very welcome. Very welcome. I just want to say thank you for hopping on my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, and ask you, how is your week starting out so far?
It's good. It's Oregon week, so it's busy, but it's good.
Absolutely. A huge game between Oregon and Ohio State coming up here on Saturday. Should be a fun one, too. Very good one, as I believe, or Ohio State goes to Oregon, if I'm not mistaken.
They
So,
do.
yeah, it's going to be a very good game between those two teams of the top 10 for sure. I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on this podcast here. And before I start asking you all these questions. So, I know you're a sports reporter and a weekend anchor right now for CBS 4 in Columbus, Ohio. But I also know prior to that, you were in Louisville, Kentucky for about 5+ years doing your thing there as well. I also know you was in Texas at one point doing your thing as well. So you have an abundance of experience reporting. I'm a reporter myself. I love talking to reporters because, Whitney, it's a rarity that we have a chance to sit down ourselves and be able to have these kind of conversations about our why and our story, because we're always out there getting a story. So it's rare
Yeah.
that we have people ask us questions about that. So I wanted to create a platform like this to be able to talk to wonderful people like yourself. So I'm just happy that you say yes, and very thankful for sure.
Of course, absolutely.
So, Whitney, as I always do, as I start my podcast off, I started with the same question. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Is there any role models? Is there any inspirations? Maybe growing up that you had that, inspired you to want to be in this profession. But what is your why of joining, of the sports journalism field?
Um, my gosh, I guess my why is just making sure that athletes are heard as people
Mm.
and not just seen for their numbers, whether it's stats or on their jersey or things like that. Because so often I think sometimes athletes forget that can get so wrapped up in their sport it becomes who they are, and they're so much more than that. So and getting also for me, it's getting other people excited about sports and realizing that you may not understand the rules, you may not understand those sorts of ins and outs, but there's something we can all understand, and that is drive and overcoming adversity and trying to find the best in ourselves. And at the root of sports, that's just kind of what it is. It's very simple. We just somehow manage to make it more complicated than it is.
At times, for sure, no question, right? More than an athlete is something that I like to keep in the back of my mind. That's why I also love doing sports journalism. It's not just about the games and the recaps. It's much more than that. It's the feature story. It's being able to have these moments and create these moments, right? So I love doing that for sure. You went to SMSU, not SMSU, SMU,
Yes.
Southern Methodist University. I want to ask you, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to SMU?
Yes. Actually, and I transferred to SMU. My freshman year, I went to North Carolina State. I was a gymnast, and it just didn't work out. My body and my mind, I was just so burnt out.
Right,
But it was
right,
like I I felt like I had to stick with it and get to the collegiate level, even though I knew that I would get a college scholarship from the time that I was like 12.
right.
But I felt like I had to do it or else it was all for nothing. And so when I got to NC State, I was injured and I just could never really get my body back to where I wanted and get my confidence back. So then I decided to transfer. And I was actually not even a journalism major when I went to college. I wanted to be a surgeon.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, very different.
Hmm.
But I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. I wanted to do sports medicine. Um, so when I transferred schools, or I knew I was transferring and I was going through the application process, which was weird because I didn't do that in high school. I didn't do the
Right.
process.
Mhm.
Um, I was filling out applications and there was one to Rice University where you had to like circle a whole bunch of topics that you were interested in after
Right.
you all of the like what's your major and all that stuff. And my mom and dad kind of were just checking my spelling and everything. And they sat me down and they said, "Do you realize that on these topics, you didn't circle anything that was science?"
Right.
I was like, "I don't I sure, I don't know." And then they were like, "Everything you circled was liberal arts. It was like literature and creative writing and all." And so then we got to talking about what it was that I wanted to do. And I said, "Well, I wanted to help athletes." And that's when my parents gave me the idea of, well, you can help athletes in ways besides healing their bodies. Um,
Absolutely.
so that's kind of what got me into it. And so when it just became time to transfer, I was between SMU and University of Kansas. My whole family is
Mhm.
from Kansas City. I grew up a diehard Kansas fan. I actually have gotten into the school 3 times.
Wow.
And I haven't gone any of the times. Um,
Mm.
but that's what I always thought I wanted to go there. And then SMU, the journalism program was just a bit smaller and a little bit more one-on-one with professors. And that's what kind of sold me. And the equipment was all brand new. They had just gotten a huge donation. Um, and actually, my boyfriend from high school went to SMU. So everybody thought I was going there for him, which in a weird way, yes and no. I was going there because I'd visited him so much. I
Mm.
just liked the school. So that's kind of the long story of how I got there
Wow.
and got into this wacky job.
Well, that is a hell of a story. And now are you still with that boyfriend? Because that's amazing if you are.
No,
Oh,
we broke
okay.
up like not even a
Oh,
year after I got there.
I'm
He
sorry.
he was my high school sweetheart. Oh my gosh, we were way too much alike. We would have killed each other.
I
We were both
understand.
way too type A, way too like set on our like this is the path I'm gonna take and you're gonna have to come
Mhm.
along for the ride. So
Mhm.
he's yeah, he's a great guy. He's a sweet guy and he got me through so many things that I don't even think he knows that he saved
Mhm.
me from so many things. Um
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Guy.
I really am. Wow, that is a wonderful start to this conversation. I love it. All right, because we're talking that you said you're from Kansas. You went to North Carolina State, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Then you went there from there to SMSU, which is in Texas. Then
Yeah.
you got your master's in Illinois at Northwestern in Chicago, and now you're
Yes.
in Columbus. So you've been quite around.
A,
no,
a,
no question.
a lot of places, yeah. So I grew up in Houston and my whole
Oh my
family is from
goodness.
Kansas City. So it's like even though I didn't like live there, I it was like every vacation and everything we were there. So yeah, it's I almost had like two homes growing up. And then even when I was in graduate school at Northwestern, I went and lived in South Africa for like 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
I'm doing
Okay.
journalism there. So
How
yeah,
was that? How was that experience?
It was different. I'd never been out of the country, and the
Mhm.
first place I decided to go was Johannesburg, which
Okay.
at the time had the highest murder rate in the world.
Oh wow.
And I moved there by myself. And fortunately, my boss at the TV station kind of like took pity on me because I went there to cover the World Cup as part of
Oh,
my
okay.
master's program. They have a program at Northwestern called Global Journalism where you go like it's not like study abroad. You're actually kind of like doing not really even an internship. They call it a residency.
Okay.
Um, and they basically connect you with the place that you're going to be working, but then you have to do everything else. So you have to find your housing, you have to do all these things. And I was the first one to go to South Africa for this project. They have an undergrad study abroad, kind of like a swaparoo sort of thing, but they'd never had somebody as a master's student go over there. So it was hard because people in the United States, I don't think understand the World Cup. Hopefully they will in a few years. Um,
Hopefully.
a little bit better, but
Yeah.
it's hard to explain to people like I couldn't just go over there and grab a hotel room until I found a place to live. There were no hotel rooms. I
Right.
couldn't stay in a hostel. I probably would have been taken. So my boss at the TV station took pity on me and he and his wife had a guest flat in their like kind of compound. Like they have their house and then they had a guest flat
Wow.
and that's where I
Okay.
stayed. And I stayed there and I had no cable, no internet. I had a space heater. I had running water, which was great, but that was it. Like it was a nice place, but it was very, very basic. And but it was a really cool experience because I met a lot of people and people like would take me places. We would go like to watch parties and I got to see how people do sports journalism outside the states and just trying to explain to people how we do sports here and college
Yeah.
athletics is it's such a unique thing. I don't think we really understand how unique that is. Um,
And we never will. I mean, it's hard unless you're in them shoes. I mean, let's just be honest. Unless you're in them shoes, you are not going to really understand fully what's going on. But that's one hell of an experience to be able to go over there to Johannesburg and cover the World Cup. Best thing about it is the next World Cup is going to be here in the U.S., so you don't have to go so far, which is pretty cool, pretty
I'm
awesome.
very excited. I want to get my parents to a match. They're both kind of like, "Oh, soccer's boring." And I'm like, "No, we need to go to." But I was spoiled. I mean, those were my first big soccer matches, were World Cup matches.
Absolutely.
So I was very spoiled from the get-go. But my dad's dad, my grandfather, who's no longer with us, but he was born in Spain. So we of course love US men's soccer team. We are always disappointed by them.
Yeah,
um,
we are.
and once they are out, then my family's attention turns to Spain, which is usually pretty fun. So,
Absolutely. Soccer matches are much different. People rarely ever sit down at
yeah.
those matches. I mean, the energy in there is just
Oh, yeah.
so amazing. So yes, I'm hoping that you do get your parents to a World Cup match. I'm hoping I get to a World Cup match myself.
Good.
Um,
And
I
I
want to
tell people don't if go of course if you can go to a US match do it, but definitely go to one of like the other countries and just experience the camaraderie,
sure.
the family feeling of the fandom, the songs, the chants, the it's so different and it's just it's so cool and people don't care where you're from. If you wear their shirt or if you have a scarf or a beer, I mean, they'll be like, "Yay, we're on the same team." Like they just will love you.
They're gonna have a good time regardless. No question about that. You are right about that. I want
Yeah.
to ask you some favorite questions, Whitney, off the rip, and you give me the 411 off these questions. Are you with me?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Favorite meal. If I'm cooking, it's probably going to be chalupas.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
Mexican food. If
I'm
I'm
with
not,
you on that.
yeah, if I'm not cooking, it's probably gonna be my favorite place in Kansas City for barbecue.
Now, I like the way you think, Whitney. We already vibing off a good start. I like that. Barbecue and Mexican food, those are my two favorites. I mean, a close third is Italian, but yeah,
Yeah.
those two favorites, absolutely. I'm with you on that. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Um, One of the most memorable for me was when I was on my recruiting trip to was it my recruiting trip or was I at NC State and we had recruits? It kind of that part blurs, but it was ludicrous. It was really fun.
Okay, now. All right. All right. Roll out. I'm with you
Yeah,
on that. Or
it was ludicrous.
I'm with you. I love
Yeah.
me some Luda now. No, definitely. No doubt, I should say. Okay. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
London.
Okay. Okay.
That
And
was
what trip was that? Was that like a family trip, a class trip?
that was my honeymoon. It was my
Oh,
honeymoon.
okay. That's awesome.
We
I love that.
we didn't want to relax. We wanted to adventure. So we went to Europe because, like I said, I'd only been to South Africa at that point. My husband had never been anywhere. So we wanted to go to London, and it was pretty amazing.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. That's on the bucket list for
Yeah.
sure. Have not been to London yet. But my place would probably be Cabo San Lucas.
Oh, I've always
Uh,
wanted to go there too.
but see, you can put that on your bucket list for
Yeah, I
sure.
can.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. It's beautiful. If you like great scenery, you already like Mexican food, so you're good to go with that. And if you like water or beaches and stuff like that, Cabo's your place for sure. Okay. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person? Can be the same sport.
It's not. Favorite sport to watch on TV, college basketball, and it's not even close. That's what I grew up. My whole family's obsessed.
Mm.
It's for me, it's just something that we do. That's what I kind of live or die. That's like one of the sports I get emotional about with my teams. So college basketball. In person, hockey. And yeah, again, not even close. Yeah.
Now you know the Blue Jackets are going to be starting off this week because we just
Yeah,
started another NHL season tonight.
correct.
Yes, absolutely. So I did get a chance to come up there to Columbus and watch the Blue Jackets a few years ago. A friend of mine named Jared, it was from Columbus. At the time, we were living in Georgia,
Oh
and
wow.
we actually, yeah, we was living in Georgia, but his grandparents and his uncles lived up there in Columbus. So we went up for a weekend, and we just hung out and went to a Columbus Blue Jacket game. So it was pretty cool. I mean, my favorite team is the Blackhawks, but
Me
that's
too.
okay. Oh, really? Okay, awesome, awesome. Yes, Patrick Kane's my favorite player. Superman is what they
Yeah.
call him. So
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
love
I love.
I fell in love with hockey. I always wanted to learn about it, but in Houston, like we just didn't really have it. And people are like, well, why weren't you a Stars fan? I'm like, that's like asking a Cincinnati person or a Cleveland person when the Browns left, well, why aren't you a Bengals fan? It's like, no,
Right,
you just
right.
no. So when I went to graduate school, I really wanted to learn about hockey. And I started dating a hockey player, or former player, and our first dates were going to bars and him teaching me hockey. And it was 2010, and we watched the Blackhawks.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's how I
Well,
got
good.
into it was impossible to not love that team. So,
I
yeah.
understand that. No doubt. Okay. Last of the favorites. Favorite restaurant you like to eat at?
Favorite restaurant I like to eat at?
Mm-hmm.
It would be the barbecue place in Kansas City, Jack Stack.
Jack Stack. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Okay, Jack Stack. Now, are you a brisket person? Or you barbecue ribs, beef ribs, pork ribs? You like it
Burn
all?
ends. Burn ends. Kansas City burn
Mm.
ends. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like you. I like that. I like that a lot. That's what's up,
Real
Whitney. That's pretty
specific.
cool.
Real specific.
Yeah, that is real specific. Sorry about that, but yes, absolutely, no doubt.
Yeah.
This next question I want to ask you is day to day. All right,
Okay.
as you know, as a sports reporter, weekend anchor, your days are never the same.
No.
We're always covering something different. We're always doing something different, different stories as sports reporters. Um, we don't work conventional hours either, right? Our sports happen nights and weekends for the most part. They don't happen early in the morning. We don't have business hours type of shifts. So, talk to me about your day to day because you do reporting and anchoring, which is two different processes. So, talk to me about what your day to day is when you report and also when you anchor.
So even when I report, it varies. So like today, for example, we had two different press availabilities on Tuesdays during football season. Every Tuesday we have Ryan Day at noon, and then he's usually followed by one of the coordinators and then quarterback Will Howard. So that's how that's like the first kind of thing that's not at my desk that I do on
Mm-hmm.
Tuesdays. And then today we also had men's basketball media day. So after we did football, we just bounced over to basketball and we did that. And then I went out to a high school to grab an interview and some video with one of the coaches for our game of the week this week. And that's usually my Tuesday is it's college football, something else, and then the high school football.
Mm,
So that's
okay.
just kind of like a day when I don't have a story and I'm just kind of picking up a lot of different things to fill a sports cast that we
Sure.
have.
Sure.
If it's a day when I'm actually doing a story, it just kind of I always tell my story subjects that I'm around your schedule. So I just kind of my day would kind of follow around what works for them. Um
Okay.
Sometimes I'm turning the story for that day and sometimes I'm not. Right now I have a whole bunch of stories that I've already shot and interviewed and everything. I wanted to get them done, like all that done before college football season got going, and they're just kind of waiting for me to put them together. Um, because football season's always a little bit different than the other
Absolutely.
seasons. So yeah, those are kind of the two reporting days, like the two different kind of reporting days that I would have. And then of course now that hockey's starting, sometimes my schedule will shift more towards the night if I need to go to a game. We can't shoot the games, but we can get locker room sound after them.
Mm, okay.
Then if when I anchor, there's also kind of a couple different things. So like on Friday nights during football or basketball season, we have our 15-minute show.
Mm,
That's so the newscast is from 11 to 11:30, but the
okay.
first news and the second half is all sports instead of it just being like 2 minutes of sports.
Okay.
So when I do that kind of anchoring, I've usually gone out and I've had to shoot a few games, two or three, come back, edit the highlights, and then I co-anchor the show. Saturdays is my main anchor day, and I'll usually get to the station if I have nothing to shoot at around like 2:30. I get the 6 o'clock ready. Sometimes we have a 7 o'clock as well, which normally is
Okay.
just kind of like a copy paste of the six, unless something has changed. Then outside of football season, we have our 30-minute sports show on Saturdays, which I've been producing and editing and writing kind of throughout the week with the help from my two guys that are in our department with me, our sports director and our sports reporter. And
Okay.
then I anchor the 11 o'clock.
I
So
love that. I mean, that sounds like a pretty full week. And that's amazing because it's fun. Like I said, every day is different. I want to ask you about mental health, though, and work life balance, because when you're doing two different things, sometimes you run into words like, burnout,
yeah.
overworked, underpaid. I know there's been a few of my colleagues that I've had in this industry that have left for those
Mhm.
reasons. And I'm sure you know people that have left as well.
Yeah.
How do you maintain good mental health, but also that work life balance? Like you said, you're married now. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
you have friends. You seem like a wonderful person to be around with. No question about it. But you just laid out your schedule to me too. That seems like a pretty full schedule. So how do you keep that work life balance, straight, and also keep your mental health good?
Yeah. And I have a 2-year-old.
Oh,
Um,
and a mom too.
I
Okay.
have a 2-year-old. Um, it's not easy. I'm very, very lucky that I have a really great news director. She's awesome. I have a great relationship with her and a lot of that I think has come from she knows how hard I work. So if I ask for something, she knows that I'm genuinely like in need. Um I've had to set boundaries. I really had to set boundaries. Like today I started work at 9:30. At 5:30, I was like, okay, I can't go anymore. I'm already overtime. I got to get out of here. Somebody messaged me a little bit later and was like, "Hey, can you do this?" And I was like, "Nope, I'm gone. I'm sorry." I'm already in the car. So I've really had to set those boundaries. Well, like, keeping in mind there are exceptions. Like if
Yeah,
there was
absolutely.
something wild, like we've had some really big stories here lately and they are never easy. Um the day that or the day after, I guess technically, but the day we all found out that Johnny Gaudreau died, I found out I woke up at like 5 a.m., 4 or
Okay.
5 a.m., because my daughter was awake and crying. And I went to go take care of her. And as I was rocking her, I just pulled out my phone and we had an
And
email.
found out.
Yeah, I had an email from NBC Boston being like, hey, do you guys have any video of Johnny Gaudreau in case this is real? And I was like, in case what's real? And
Right.
those emails are never good. So I knew that something horrific had happened. So I opened up Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I opened up Twitter and I just searched his name and I saw the rumors and I texted our morning anchor who's a former sports guy. And I was like, all I said to him was, tell me it's not true. And he knew immediately. And he wrote me back, no one has said that it isn't. And it's so easy to just say for someone to be like, nah, it's not him.
Yeah.
So when people didn't say that, we all knew.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a day where I basically started working at 5 a.m. and I didn't stop. And
That was tragic.
you're just trying to get what information you can. You're trying to figure out how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this respectfully? But how are we going to get our viewers the information that they're going to want or be curious about?
Hmm.
What's next? What does the team do? So yeah, I really started working around 5 a.m. And I didn't stop till that night. So there
Wow.
are always exceptions, but that's just, and my husband's so great. He gets it. Like that night, when I found out, I just walked up to him and I held my phone. I was crying and he was like, oh God, what happened? And when I told him, I mean, he's a Blue Jackets fan. He started crying and, and we have this 2-year-old and all I could think about was Johnny's 2-year-old because our kids were born like a month apart. And but yeah, so you gotta allow yourself to be human for a little bit, and then you gotta kind of turn it off because you gotta do your job.
Sure.
Um, and then when you turn it back on, it just kind of all overflows out of you. So yeah,
I love the word that you said, boundaries. I love that word. It's tough for people that's oncoming. That's I'm sorry, not oncoming, incoming into the industry. Brand new people that just graduated. Because you're always on the go, go, go. Now for me, when I was in my 20s, I wanted to do everything. Like I want to be able to be like everything, internship, everything. Yep, yep, yes, yes, yes. I was the yes man. I wanted to do everything. Now that I'm in my 30s, it's a little different because my priorities and my views are a little different because there's things I actually want to do outside of my career, and that's kind of why I no longer am full time. I'm more freelance. Now I'm a freelance reporter. I also want to do certain projects as well. Sometimes when you work within a company, you don't have that control over what you can do.
yeah,
And I love the fact that you said boundaries because there's a lot of companies that don't care about your mental health or the bottom line. You have a great news director that does, and that's a blessing in disguise because many people on this platform have talked about how it's been hell sometimes being in some
yeah.
of those places.
Yeah,
Um,
and I've had some bad sports directors. I've been lucky that most of them have been great. I've been so lucky with that. They've been respectful. They've been great, supportive. But I have had some bad ones. Or what I would perceive as bad ones.
sure, sure, sure.
But no, it makes all the difference when you feel like you're supported and that you're not going to be like cast off if you need a mental health day or you need to like breathe or to step away for a minute. Oh, I think I froze. Christy there? Uh-oh. I can't tell if it's my internet. Let me- There you go.
Oh, okay. We're
You
back.
back?
We're back.
We're back. I
I was
couldn't
gonna.
tell if if my internet went out. I was like, oh no, what just happened?
It's okay. It's totally fine. We'll roll with it. We'll rock with it. Now, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, what is some advice that you would tell somebody that just graduated or somebody that may be a little seasoned like ourselves? I know I'm in year 6 of this. What is some advice that you would give someone that wants to join the sports journalism industry?
For me, it's really like it's kind of sports journalism to me is kind of a similar idea to student athlete. You need to be both. You need to love sports, but you also need to love journalism. Otherwise, I don't know if it's going to be what you expect. I think so many people want to get into it because it seems fun, and it can be. Like it can be really fun, but we're
Sure.
not going to games and just watching games.
Right.
Um, I until I went on maternity leave a couple years ago, I couldn't remember the last time I sat and watched a game. Um, and then my first Friday night on maternity leave, I was like, this feels weird. I should be doing something. I should be like going somewhere.
Right. Right.
Saturday, I sat and watched football all day with my husband, and I was like, this is what this is like, isn't it? Like, okay, this is kind of
Yeah.
cool. But it really, I think, is important for people to remember that there's a journalism component. It needs there needs to be writing, there needs to be good questions, there needs to be ethics. And it's not just about rubbing elbows with athletes or coaches or going to games for free or anything like that. So I always try to like emphasize that to young people, especially because I don't want them to get into this and thinking that it's just fun and games, but then they get their butts kicked and they get demoralized. That's not healthy. So especially when I have interns, I always try to press on them just how much work it goes into specifically what I do in local news for sure.
Absolutely. You know, they see your face in front of the TV, which is a lovely face, no question about it. But, you know, Whitney, it takes a lot to do
Mhm.
what you do. It takes a lot of people to help you out. It also takes a lot of hard work for you to do. It's not all, like you said, fun and games. I use the words glitz and glamour. Like, it's not as glamorous as people make it out to seem. It's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's a lot of focus. Like you said, we're going there, we're watching the games, but we have stories to tell. We don't have time to just be watching and, you know, just all of a sudden miss something or don't have something. You know, these are stories that we have to tell through broadcast and through print. And it's important that people know the A side and the B side. And the A
Yeah.
side is what you just said: going to games for free, being able to storytell, interviewing, doing something different every day. So we're not sitting at a damn desk bored half deaf.
Yeah.
That's what the great thing is, right? And you're covering several different sports, which we love. But
Mm.
the B side is, and this is why I do the podcast, Whitney, is that when you do journalism, and, you know, I'll talk from a sports perspective, is one of those things where, okay, it's not being enamored with the athlete, right? We got to ask questions that our viewers think are good questions to ask to get the answers that they need. You're going to miss graduations, celebrations, holidays with your family. I moved up here to Minnesota. So I don't have any intermediate family around me. My dad's in New York, my mom's in Georgia, but I'm chasing after a dream, right? And I want this really bad because this is something that I love to do. You mentioned it as well. You said you got to love sports, but also love journalism.
Yeah.
Um, I think that can't be more true than what you just said. You definitely have to love both. A lot of people get into this profession for different reasons, but it got to be the right reasons. Otherwise,
Yes.
you won't stay. I can guarantee that you will not stay if you don't get it. If you don't get in this profession for the right reasons, for sure.
I agree.
I love it. I love it. This next thing that I want to do is called this or that. Okay, it's about that time. It's the interactive game where I throw some things at you and you get to choose this or that. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, Whitney, we've been vibing all night. Here we go. First one is, which one are you going to? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
That's okay. We rocking now. We rocking. Okay, I like that. Chicken wing flavors, barbecue or lemon pepper?
Barbecue.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet.
Do you like them bone in or boneless?
Oh, people are gonna be mad at me for this one. Boneless.
Why? Why the hell are they gonna be mad? They should not be mad. You get more meat with the boneless, do you not?
I think so. I like it better.
Hello. Do you eat it with a fork?
Depends. Depends
Okay.
how saucy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. If you said wet, that means you like to get a little messy.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay, hey, no argument for me. That's for sure. Okay. These next four have to do with music concerts you rather attend. So here we go. Which concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Kendrick Lamar, oh God.
Okay.
On
Well,
the one
damn.
hand, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. On the other one, I've always hated Drake. So I've really enjoyed
Wow.
the
Wow.
last few months.
Okay. It sounds like it was a win-win for you on that for sure. Okay. Which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Rihanna or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Okay, I like
I
that.
like them both very much.
Absolutely. Both are talented. Which concert would you rather go to? Taylor Swift or Carrie Underwood?
Taylor Swift.
Wow. Okay. So you're a Swiftie.
I don't know if I'm a Swiftie, but I just know more of her stuff than I like Carrie Underwood a lot. I just know more of Taylor's stuff. That's
Okay.
probably
I like that. I like that. I can respect it. Which concert would you rather go to? Monica or Brandy?
Monica.
Ooh,
I was
okay.
always team Monica.
You definitely in the minority on that one. Just one of
I
them
know.
days. Don't
I
take it
know.
personal. Okay.
I
Okay.
was always team Monica. Always.
I like it though. I like it. I love both of them, by the way. But yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
like
they're
that.
both great.
Did you like the Boy Is Mine remix with Ariana Grande? Did you like them two on it?
No.
No, you didn't like
I
that?
don't like Ariana Grande.
Oh my goodness. Oh, now you have heard the song though, right?
Yeah,
Okay, you heard it. Okay, that's all right. That's all I asked. Okay, which
it's
sport?
fine.
Okay, okay, that's cool. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Badminton.
Now you know, Whitney. I'm pretty good at badminton. I'm just saying. I'm saying I'm pretty good
I'm
now.
not, but I'd rather play it.
No, do you need the bumpers for bowling?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
hell no. Oh
I
hell no.
That's why when my friends when we go bowl, I don't bowl. I just drink.
Okay. Okay, that's good. You would be a great friend. That's cool.
I
Cool.
know I know what I'm good at.
I feel you on that. Okay, I like that. You know your lane. Which
I,
sport would you rather watch on TV? NBA basketball or baseball?
that's tough.
It is.
Hmm. It's not like one of my teams, it's just generic game.
It could be one of your teams. It could not be. Whether it's NBA basketball or baseball.
Probably baseball. And I
Okay.
hate saying that because growing up, NBA was my favorite, one of my favorite things in the 90s. I loved the NBA. I don't know. That's a tough
Can't
question.
get. Listen, it was really good NBA in the '90s. No question about it. My
Yeah.
mother and father, they are born and raised in Chicago, so you know they were huge Bull
Oh
fans.
yeah.
No question about that. I was raised in my high school years or middle school, high school years, Kobe Shaq.
Yeah.
So that was me. That was me, Lakers. So I was raised in California. If you can't tell with the hat I got on, hopefully the Padres are busting the Dodgers right now.
I'm
Hopefully.
pulling for them. I'm pulling for them. Yeah, for sure. I
Please,
love
yes,
Fernando
indeed.
Tatis.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you like desserts?
I love desserts. Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw four categories at you. You got to
Okay.
choose these desserts you'll never eat again. All
Okay.
right. So here we go. First one is candy. That's any type of candy. Chocolate, gelatin, doesn't matter. The next one is cake. That's any type of cake. The next one is ice cream. The last one is cookies. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Candy.
I knew we was gonna be besties, Whitney. I knew it. Because I'm serious. I would have got rid of candy too because I
Candy.
can't give up my red velvet cake. I can't give that up.
No.
I can't give up chocolate chip cookies. Can't give
Nope.
that up.
You can't give up
And
ice cream.
ice cream. What's your favorite ice cream?
So I grew up in Texas, so I love Bluebell, and Bluebell cookies and cream is my favorite because it's Oreos. It's actual Oreos in there. So that's my
Well,
favorite.
we like the same flavor ice cream, but I'm Breyers. The
Okay.
Breyers Oreo ice cream, cookies and cream. Absolutely.
I can appreciate some Breyers. Yeah, I can appreciate.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. But cookies and cream is also my favorite. A chocolate chip cookie dough is a close second, for
That's
sure.
a good one.
All right. I like that. Potato chips. Do you like potato chips?
Yeah.
Okay. So same format. Throwing out 4 brands. You got to get rid of one of these brands. Here we go. First one is Lay's. The second one is Doritos. The third one is Ruffles. The last one is Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Pringles.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good about it. Because I'm not like with Lay's, I love barbecue Lay's.
Yep.
I love barbecue Lay's. And then with Ruffles, I like the cheddar sour cream.
Oh yeah, girl. Oh yeah. Speak on it. You speaking the gospel? Yeah.
And Doritos, it's like it's Doritos. I mean, you can't get rid of Doritos. Like
Okay. So you obviously know what good food is. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing
I
you
know
know
what
some good
snack
stuff.
food is.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. You did pretty good on this or that. You did pretty good. Now, I want to ask you this question because as being a sports reporter and me being a sports reporter, there are times where I have sometimes where we have group outings with friends and I'll go out with friends and, we'll have a dinner or we'll do something. And you have those friends sometimes that just always want to banter with you because you are talking sports, because you do sports for a living. You have those friends, whether it's whatever. The question I have for you is, because I know I think about this, sometimes don't you just want to come home and not talk about sports and not be around sports?
Yeah, all the time. I come home and I watch the most terrible television. That's
okay.
It's just so far from sports, and it's terrible television. But I don't care. I need the break.
Right? I mean, I know here, my friends will be talking about something like, guys, can we talk about music? Can we talk about another genre? Can we talk about movies, like something else? Like I've been around sports all day long, all week long. I do it for my occupation. I don't want to be arguing with you about LeBron Jordan all the damn time. I don't want to do that. I don't. Like, come on. That's a never ending conversation. Right. So I love asking that question to fellow sports reporters because Lord knows I need a break sometimes. Like, I just don't want to talk about sports. I want to talk about any other genre besides that.
And it's also why people always wonder, like, oh, because I grew up in Houston. Do I want to get back there to cover, my teams, or Kansas City and cover my teams? And I'm like, no, I really don't. I don't want to know how the sausage is made. I don't want to know. I want to be blissfully ignorant and a fan. But that's the other thing is I want to be a fan. And that's when sports is my hobby. It's those boundaries. That's when sports is my hobby, is when I'm watching my team. And I can be not realistic, or I can be emotional, or not being, like if I was watching it as a reporter, I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, that's obviously this play. And as a fan, I'm like, oh, that's terrible, So that's why I never want to cover my own teams. I want to have that boundary there.
I feel you. I think the exception to that for me would probably be a big event, which we'll get to in just one moment. Like, say if my Padres would be in the World Series, I certainly wouldn't mind it. Now, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. Like a big event be an exception. But that also brought up something, again, like a bonus question for me, Whitney, I want to ask. When I watch sports now, it's much different than when I watched it years ago, not being its profession. Because when I watch it as a fan now, it's like, I'm critiquing everything almost. I'm like, why didn't he run the ball like that? Like maybe he should have pitched this. Like it's almost I'm looking at it from a reporter analyst kind of perspective sometimes instead of looking at it as just a fan. Because it's like, man, as a fan, you're like oblivious to everything. Okay, they're just out there running plays. But then when you cover the games and you see the players and you're doing that, you like, well, damn, why did he or she do that? Do you find yourself doing that on the couch sometimes, kind of being an analyst almost?
Sometimes I do. And more than anything, I've found that I'm a lot kinder. I'm not as emotionally
Me neither. That's right.
angry at players for when things don't work, or mad at coaches when things don't work. I know that I have friends or family members that get so wrapped up and they get so angry and they yell at the TV and all this stuff. And
Yeah,
I just, I can't, I can get frustrated. I get mad at like bad calls or refs or that sort of
sure,
thing. But I
sure.
never get mad at the players really anymore because I feel like so many of them I've either gotten to know or I know somebody just like them, and I'm constantly reminded you'll never forget the first time you walk into a locker room during college basketball season and a team has been eliminated. You'll
Mm,
never forget that scene. It's these kids that these huge, massive men, like they're huge. I always joke,
mm,
like, will there ever be a day when these college athletes look, younger than me? I don't feel
right,
like that's gonna happen. Maybe
right.
I have a totally different view of what I look like, but I just feel like they all look older than I do. But then you walk into this locker room and they're all crying. And
Yeah,
suddenly the years just shed off of their faces. And you remember these are 18 to 22-year-olds.
yeah.
And so I find that because people ask me all the time, "Are you an Ohio State fan?" And I'm like, I'm really not. I have no besides my husband's a Buckeye, but and the only reason I pull for them is so my home life is happy, and it's more fun for me at work. But it's not so much that I pull for the team; it's I pull for the kids.
Yeah,
We are so lucky here in Columbus that we have such good people that we cover. The athletes are such good people, and
absolutely.
we're so lucky with that. And you kind of get to know their quirks, you get to know them in different ways, and I want them all to succeed.
Yeah,
And so that's what I want is I want them all to succeed. So I'm not an Ohio State fan. I guess I'm like a Buckeyes fan because I which sounds the same. But so I've found the longer I go in this business, the more that I get almost annoyed with people when I hear them like saying disparaging things about the athletes. I'm like, y'all don't know. Like you don't and people say, "Oh,
this is
they
true.
signed up for this." I'm like, "Okay, no. They did not sign up for you being a jerk and saying like,
Right. Terrible things.
yeah,
Yeah,
no. No
yeah.
one has signed up for that." And it's even worse now with prop bets and betting. Like it's just
Oh,
what do you
it's only gonna get out of hand with that because the betting landscape has just taken off. It's skyrocketed. There's so much money out there
yeah.
now that people are, and then literally like sending threats to people like, why didn't you pass for this yard or catch this ball or stuff like
It's
that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
it's crazy. But yeah.
Um, but yeah, I wanted to bounce off before I got to the next question. You talked about the kids, and I don't do out here. We only have one college, but we have 12 different high schools that I do kind of freelancing for, and there is nothing more I would say disheartening and nothing more just like sad than when you see these high school kids play with their friends for the very last time
Yeah.
and you go into that locker room and the coach is sobbing and the kids are sobbing and it's like you got to do your job, you got to interview them, but you just know they hurt.
Yeah.
And you also put yourself in them shoes because I played high school sports. I'm not sure about you, but I'm sure you probably played a high school sport as well. You know how it felt when you lost and your season ended.
Yeah.
It's just a pain that you definitely don't want to duplicate. So I
Yeah.
totally understand that.
Mhm.
I
For
totally
sure.
do.
Yeah. It's just a reminder of like that these are just they're young people.
Very young, very young. Now, I want to ask you a top four. Okay, top 4 events that you would like to cover in your sports journalism career. For example, for me, one would be the Olympics. Two would be a national championship game, whether it's basketball or football. Three will be an NBA Finals because I'm a huge basketball person. And four would be a World Series, hopefully with my Padres in it, but whoever team, doesn't matter. But I would do those four.
Okay.
With an honorable mention being Super Bowl. Super Bowl would be great. Talk to me about what is a top 4 events you would like to cover.
That I would like to cover. Okay, not
Yeah,
attend, but cover.
yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think because I've been so lucky because I've done so many. Um, I probably won't list these in any particular order. They'll just kind of come to me. I would love to cover a Frozen 4.
Okay, all right.
On that same vein, I would love to cover a Stanley Cup Finals.
That would be
That
amazing.
that would be very near the top for me. Would be a Stanley Cup Finals. Because then besides the Super Bowl, I would have covered all the big ones. And I just don't really have like a dying need to cover a Super Bowl. It just seems very just like a lot. That I don't know
Okay,
I don't know if I care enough. It's like,
I got you.
I'm spoiled. I'm a Chiefs fan. People like I'm good. Um, the
Mm.
Olympics. The Olympics, I would love
I
to
mean,
cover.
that's a definite. That's a definite.
Yeah. Yeah, the Olympics I would love to cover. And ooh, one more. It's hard because I've just been so lucky. I've gotten to cover like Final Fours, national championships, World Series, College World Series, World Cup. Um, God, there's definitely something out there. Maybe the Masters.
Mm.
The
Okay.
Masters. No, Ryder Cup.
Now that would be well,
Ryder
hold on,
Cup.
Ryder Cup or President's Cup or either or.
Ryder. Ryder
Ryder
Cup.
Cup.
It's
Okay.
it's meaner. It's meaner.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Now, if you wasn't doing sports journalism, Whitney, what career path would you have went down and why? It wasn't journalism.
If I'd stuck with my guns, I would have been a surgeon. I don't know if I don't know if I have the brains to have stayed with that. But I still love all oh God, if it's a TV show where they're like start doing surgery, oh God, I love that stuff. Um,
Okay.
I love it. My husband can't watch. My husband can't watch when anybody rolls an ankle. I'll be watching highlights and I'll be like, oh, don't watch. And I'll watch. It doesn't bother me. When you see a teammate like have a compound fracture so that their arm is sticking out of their skin, like things just
Yeah.
don't bother you anymore. So yeah. Let me see.
Surgeon. Okay.
Surge, I mean, I always loved that idea. I really don't think I'm smart enough, um, or have the memory to remember all of the things.
That's a
Um,
lot of years of school too. Now, a lot of
it is a
years.
lot of years of school. Um, my goodness, I guess I've never really thought about anything else that I would do just because I love my job so much. Um,
Absolutely.
and it's such a great thing. Um, I don't know. I've always wanted this probably doesn't go like away from what I do now. I would always love to teach journalism. Um, and that's something I could still do and I would like to do. Um,
Can totally see you up in front of the class doing something like that. I think you'd be terrific doing that. I really do.
my mom was an elementary school teacher.
Mhm.
My dad was a pilot, but he ended up teaching um pilots. So it's just, that's something that I think I would love to do is to teach and just really more than anything, just have that feeling of like you're trying to make things better
Sure,
than where
sure.
you found them.
I know I would love. I'm getting my master's in professional writing as we speak. So I will get my master's by May of 25.
That's
Um,
awesome. Congrats.
Thank you so much. And the reason why you said teaching, I definitely want to be able to have that option. I
Hmm.
substitute teach now.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I do that from time to time here. But I also want to be able to open that door of full time teaching because I would love to teach interviewing. That's a
Yeah.
class that I think I can teach that. I think I
Yeah,
could
I
teach
think you
interviewing.
definitely.
Absolutely. I would love that. I really would. So, but if I had an occupation outside of journalism, I would say theater.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I'm not
Hmm.
brave enough. I'm not brave enough.
Really?
I have no problem public speaking, but having to
Right.
like for lines and stuff, no.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So I love musicals.
Me
I'm a huge
too.
musical buff. Probably my favorite musical is Hairspray, but Wicked is right behind that.
Me
But
too.
I
It's
love Annie. I love Rent. I love Hamilton. I could go on and on, probably bore you half to death. But
nope, I love
um,
music. My dog is actually named after a character in a musical. It's my favorite movie of all time. So, yeah.
really, okay, okay, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. What was it? What would be your top like three musicals?
Well, my favorite one, which is my favorite movie of all time, is My Fair Lady.
Mm,
Without question, that is my absolute favorite. It has been my entire life. So my dog is named Henry Higgins.
okay, okay,
Um, Wicked would be second because I
beautiful
always,
choice.
before Wicked became a thing, I never understood the hate for the witch. It's like this person dropped a house on her sister and took her shoes. Like, no, you don't take shoes. Like, you just those are nice shoes. You no.
Right, right.
Like, why is she the bad one? Because she wants the shoes back. They're her shoes. Okay.
Shouldn't have took them in the first place.
I mean, if we go with like how inheritance and stuff works, like they're
I
her.
told, I'm with you. I'm totally with
So Wicked would be my second. Oh my goodness, I just love too many. Mary Poppins would be up there as a child. That was
you.
my
Mm.
favorite movie, and Les Mis.
So I acted in Les Mis in high school and
You did?
had to drink with me solo.
Oh, really? That's
So I did do that, which was crazy because the only reason why I joined the play was because I seen some cute girls and I wanted to go into the play.
There are so many guys that get into theater because of that. It's so
I
true.
was like, I was like, you know what? There's like so many girls over here, and I'm like 16, 17 at the time. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
okay, cool. Let's join it. Let's do. What am I doing? It was like French Revolution. I said, French what? I don't know nothing about French except French fry. That's all I told them. I told them I know about French fry. That's about it. And they told me you're gonna do the drink with me solo, and then that's what I did. So it's pretty cool.
It's cool. Yeah, I love Les Mis. I think I sing it to my daughter every night when I put her to bed.
That's awesome. I love that. I really do love that. Okay, that's what's up. Advice. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to? We talked about advice you gave. But what is some advice someone has given you?
Gosh, I've gotten so much good advice. Honestly, setting boundaries was advice that I got um when I became a mother. And that was advice that I wish I'd gotten when I was younger.
Mm,
Um, some of the best advice I ever got in this business was my first job. I had an assistant news director say to me, "Never be comfortable."
mm.
And I was like, "Well, that sounds terrible." And he said, "No, it's not." He said, "Never be comfortable." He's like, "Eventually you will find your final job and you will stay with that job and you will never be comfortable. And it's not a bad thing." He said, "If you're getting comfortable, then it's time for you to move on because you've outgrown wherever you are."
Yep.
And I get that now. Um, and I think part of that is he knew me very well and knew my personality and knows how, how hard I push myself. So what he I think really meant by that was if I get comfortable, that means I've stopped pushing myself, which means I'm probably just bored. And he wasn't wrong. Sometimes it's hard to realize when you're too comfortable
Right.
and you stay somewhere too long. Um, but that was probably some of the best advice I ever got was don't get too comfortable. Mhm.
Absolutely. And it's crazy that you said that because I've been here for almost 2.5 years now. I was with my publication, and listen, I have wrote over at least 500 to 700 articles in that year and a half span of
Wow.
all kind of articles. And I felt like I was like, okay, you know what? I'm covering section championships, state championships. I'm going to the University of Minnesota. I'm doing all this kind of things. I covered my first Timberwolves game out here. I'm like, you know what? I want to be able to do something even more. And it got to the point with Whitney that my boss told me something that my former boss told me something I never forget. He was like, you know what? We don't have the necessary tools to help you grow as a reporter. And he said that verbatim, quote, quote. And when he said that, I was like, wow. Well, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate your honesty. That's literally what I told him. And the very next day, I gave my 2 weeks.
That's smart.
I gave my 2 week notes. And I decided to go freelance. Because like you said, it got to the point now where they were starting to get comfortable. And then me, I'm letting them get comfortable. And it's like, you know what? I want to continue pushing myself. And that's why I decided to go freelance. And I started doing things for different publications around here, but also doing more stuff on the pro side. And then also waiting for my next opportunity to go up to a next market. And I just thought that when you said that, don't get too comfortable, that immediately came up in my mind. Because it was like, I was getting to that point where I was like, man, you know, this seems like this is just a breeze. Covering this, people know me in the community, people's great, but then there's always going to be something where someone or something shows you that you shouldn't get too comfortable. And that was it.
Very true.
So we're coming to the end, Whitney, and now we're going to do rapid fire. Okay, rapid fire, where the first thing that comes to your mind based upon some of these questions. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
Burgers or tacos?
Tacos.
Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Favorite alcoholic drink?
Oh, just say it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack and Coke.
Okay. Jack and Coke. I like that. That's what's up. I had to pause on that one. I like something like that. Okay. Favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Milkshake.
Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry?
Chocolate.
Okay. Favorite board game?
Oh, goodness. Life.
Yeah, that's quite the board game. No question. Favorite card game?
Gin rummy.
Okay. Spades or dominoes?
Spades.
Okay. If you had 3 songs that you could listen to on repeat and never get tired of, what would those 3 songs be?
The first one would be All Apologies by Nirvana.
That's a good one.
The live version. What's it called? Unplugged. The Unplugged. All Apologies.
Oh, the MTV Unplugged. Okay,
Unplugged.
I got you.
The second would be Unchained Melody. It's a perfect song. It's an absolutely perfect song, and nobody can convince me otherwise. And the third, oh my goodness, this is where it gets a little hard. I'm trying to think.
I love it. I see the wheels turning.
Maybe Creep.
You see what?
Creep.
By TLC? That's 3 different songs right there. I like that though. That is 3. Like Creep is great. I love that. Unchained Melody. I mean, anytime I hear that song, you think of Ghost. There's no question about that. And the first song, All Apologies by Nirvana, that's a sleeper. Only true Nirvana fans know about that because that's a.
I would say next episode is honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up. I got you. That's what's up. If you had 3 people that you could take on a vacation to go anywhere, who would those 3 people be?
My husband, even though he drives me crazy when we travel, but he also pushes me to be different than the way I want to be when we travel.
As he should.
My best friend, who's basically my sister because she would keep me from killing him. And my daughter.
I love that. Where would you go?
Oh my goodness.
You had the resources, you can choose any place you want to go.
Amsterdam.
Okay.
Mhm. I want
I
to
like
go.
that.
I want to go. Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Holland. I want to do that whole part of the world.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. Which last one of the rapid fire? Which one would you pick if you had to only do that for the rest of your career? Reporter or anchor?
Reporter.
I love it. I love it.
Reporter. Yep.
Well, I know I love that. I would choose reporter as well. Like I said, I can't sit at a desk. I just can't do it. No offense to any anchor out there. You
No.
guys do a great job, but I'd rather be out there with the people for sure.
Yep.
This has been a pretty cool conversation, Whitney. It really has. It's been dope. I love this.
Yeah, this has been fun.
I always wrap it up like this. Is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
No, I think this has been a really fun conversation. Just I really hope people, if you are in the business and you're having a hard time because it can really suck, just find something within it that you love. It's never going to be what you thought. It's always going to be something that surprises you, and just grab onto it and go. There's so many different ways to do this job now. There's no set like box you got to fit in. Just find what fits for you and own it and work hard.
Play
It's
hard.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Work hard, play hard. No doubt about it. I love those words. Whitney, you enjoy the rest of your evening and your Tuesday. We will definitely be in touch. Anytime I touch down in Columbus, I'm definitely going to hit you up for sure.
You should. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for this. This has been so fun.
Absolutely. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your week and night.
Okay, thanks, you too. Bye.